power, oh yes, the power has been with you all along. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is Trey Michael, and this is another segment of Applied Consciousness. I know it's been a while since I've got back on here to talk to the collective. Today, you guys, I really want you to sit down. Like matter of fact, if you are being busy while you're listening to this right now, just hit pause, come back to this in a minute. I need for you to get into a quiet place. Matter of fact, try to sit out on your balcony or your porch or sit out so that you can see outside of the house. Because this right here is a story. This is no, it's not a story. This is a podcast today that's going to take you into the inner realm of reality. This one is talking about and going deep inside of the imagination. And I want to first say this, because these podcasts can only be recorded for 30 minutes on Anchor. And I've got so much to say. And I really pray, I really hope that you can take the moment out to truly listen to what I'm going to say. And it's not going to be a set thing as I talk about the power of attraction or things of this nature. This is one that can't be in sequence, because imagination has no time, it has no barriers, and it's what you truly are. On this segment today, I want to reference a couple of things, but remember, everything that I'm going to reference to you are just dots that have to be connected. So although it may seem as if it's rambling, although it may seem that what do these things have to do with each other, the basis of what you're going to listen to has to be connected in dots to know that all things are one. I'm going to hit you with this first so that you can understand that imagination is formless. It has no form. It is humans' consciousness that holds on to that imagination, believes and grasps that imagination, that creates it from a formless form to a form. Now, I'm going to explain this by using stuff that we talk about in common reality. Once before, there was horses and carriages and chariots, and a human being imagined in their mind a way that they can travel without using animals as the substance of the power. Now, in the physical form, this thing called the car did not exist. It was formless. Thus forth, it was only present in the mind of the individual that created the first car. Let me say that one more time. Before the invention of the car, it was first the imagination. It never existed in physical form, but it started formless in the mind of Henry Ford. And from that, you receive what we call the Model T, which was the first form of the car that started in the mind. Do you guys remember, and ladies, when there was no internet? See, because I can remember the time before the internet that connected everything together, that allowed me to be able to have this podcast for you to listen to. Before the internet was a thought. It was formless, and it was formless in the mind of the person that created the internet. And they created it first in thought. And from thought, and holding on to the belief of that thought, that it could once be reality, it was placed into form, which are the routers. First, they used to do the dialing so that you could connect into the internet. And it became form in this physical reality. If you believe that first portion, which you shouldn't in a logical mind debate that. because you all have seen things that were never in existence become in existence, then you would understand that imagination is the same as reality. Let me say that one more time. Imagination is the same as reality. The only difference is one is formless and one is transmuted into form. Both are the same. Now, this is the foundation of this podcast. I told you guys, you're going to have to sit back and drink some coffee on this one. You're going to have to sit back and probably smoke your cigar on the back balcony and let this simmer into your thoughts. When I was a child, I used to know that this reality, this form reality, that means this physical reality, was never real. And I used to always say that maybe I'm dreaming here, but when I dream, which is the imagination, it was the real world. When we talk about consciousness, to expand yourself beyond the form, you are actually talking about the subconscious mind, which is the portion where the realm of imagination exists. All of the great sages, Jesus, Buddha, Muhammad, these people that done great things in the form, they all did this through thought. Buddha believed in a world that could succeed past the physical realm, and he achieved it. He called it nirvana, where you can have the imagination realm in this physical form, and he found it. I mean, they tell you stories of Jesus, or Yahshua as his name was in the old days, but we'll say Jesus for the storyline. They told you about how Jesus was on the boat with the 12 disciples. And while the boat was rocking, the 12 disciples were angry at Jesus because he was still asleep on the boat while they were fighting for their lives. But what he was trying to tell them when he told the oceans to peace be still was that you're believing that this form world is reality. But the reason that I was able to sleep on this boat was because I do not live in this fake form world. I live in the true world, which is the world of the imagination, or the subconscious mind, or as we call it now, consciousness. And then I want to get into something that has really shifted me from reading it. And it is the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. And Thoth describes that this physical form is imprisonment. It is our prison. It is the thing that binds us and bounds us to four walls and a physical format that you cannot go beyond. And in order for us to live in the realm of imagination where everything is limitless and it has no limits, where everything is infinite and it has no divine structure, he explains that each level of consciousness or awareness takes you higher and higher. But now this is where it gets creepy. This is where it gets, I shouldn't say creepy. This is where it gets very interesting. And this is why I want you to really let this simmer into your imagination. Thoth was from ancient Kemet, and he describes his first transaction of leaving from this physical form, or this imprisonment of his body, into the world that we call higher levels of consciousness, or the imagination. But it was actually reality, because we've already come to that basis at our foundation, right? That imagination is the same as reality. It's just which one you choose to live in. And Thoth describes how the dweller and the higher beings were guiding him beyond the threshold of this reality, beyond the threshold of this world, beyond the threshold of this galaxy, beyond the threshold of this universe. And Thoth said that he got to a place which is a place in his imagination or his subconscious mind, or as I like to call it, the real world. Because you remember the Mayans told you, the word Mayan means the illusion. They said that Earth and everything that you're experiencing now is no more than an illusion. And what we call fairy tale or the imagination is actually the real world. It's the world where your being lives. That's why they call you the human being. See, in this fake form world is your human. But the essence of what you truly are is the being. It's the thing that travels through different worlds and different timelines and experiences, because it is limitless, it is formless. Well, Thoth talks about when he gets to the edge of space and time, and that there were these hounds, and only a few beings had the ability to surpass time through anguish. And after Thoth finally accomplishes passing time, he goes back to the dwellers and the 9 and the 8, which are higher levels of consciousness. They are formless beings that are formless but at the same time formed, because they are both the same, right? And don't let me lose you on it, guys. If this is a part of this I lost you on, go back and you can even research some of the things that I'm talking about, so that your consciousness can expand to this place that I'm trying to take you to right now. And this was the beautiful or strange thing that was told to Thoth after he left the boundings of his human flesh, after he left the format of this world and other worlds, and spoke with other beings on other planets and other dimensions and other timelines. And once he passed time, he came back to the dwellers in the 9. And he came back to explain to them how he had surpassed his wildest imagination beyond the threshold of time. And the 9 said to him, which were the highest beings that he had knowledge of in his awareness. The 9 said that Thoth, although you have expanded your consciousness beyond what mere mortals have ever dreamed of, you, Thoth, know nothing. I'm going to bring this all back full circle to how this applies to your reality, but just let me say that again. It told Thoth, the 9, that although he has passed beyond space and time, he knows nothing. And Thoth looked at the 9 with awe, realizing that then that this journey of how far God or creation, the creator, truly is infinite, never ending, always expanding. And as he marveled at the 9, as the 9 gave him some things that Thoth had never dreamed that existed. For one, they explained to Thoth that all of the dimensions that you just presently went to and have absorbed their information and knowledge, that because you went to these dimensions, that if you were to return there now, they themselves would have shifted, because your consciousness was present in that moment. That even when you reach a place that you think you know, just because your awareness saw it or experienced it, it even changed that reality. And Thoth, with all of his infinite knowledge, was just so overwhelmed at how great and how expansive the creator was, or as I call it, the hand that wrote it all. But then Thoth was also marveled at the 9 and their experience of how little Thoth's awareness was, right? But this was the thing that just really wowed me. The 9 looked at Thoth after saying, I live in the formless form, and I've experienced things, Thoth, that for eons it will take you to get to where I'm at. And their response to Thoth was also that even I, the 9, which knows no thing or nothing greater than I besides source itself, even I know nothing. I'm really hoping you guys let this simmer into your place or your mind right now. The nine that was guiding thought beyond space and time, who explained things to thought beyond space and time that he himself could not conceive in his infinite consciousness. They even said that they know nothing. I just gotta pause on that. And they said that they have came to the conclusion that for every step that they get closer to source, the goal line takes 3 more steps. Now, I said all of that to say this, to bring this back to where we're at right now in this form, in this boundlessness of humanity, that we have to, if we're ever going to leave this imprisonment, if we're ever going to go into where infiniteness lives and holds true through all the cosmos, we have to be willing to break down these little boxes and belief systems that we hold on so deeply to. The belief in race, the belief in ethnicities, the belief in sex, the belief in hierarchies, the belief in wealthy and poor, and the belief in the haves and have-nots, the belief in us versus them. How dare us, mere mortals, that know nothing, think that we know it all? That our religions can tell us all through the pages of a book. When there have been beings that go beyond space and time that have admitted to themselves that even they know nothing. And when you look at it from that perspective, then how serious is the fact that, oh, I got bills, or, oh, I'm tired of working? How serious are my so-called perceived problems in an endless field of consciousness that never ends and is always expanding? See, when you put it in that concept, and these things that we believe in, these things that we think are obstacles, should start to seem as if they are nothing. And if we want to leave from this realm that we are bound, then we must begin to live in the imagination as the children. Have you ever noticed that although the bills need to be due, and the groceries need to be purchased, and the lights need to be cut on, the kids seem as if they have no worries in the world? And that's because the children, they still live in the imagination or the real world. They're not bound to this form. They're not bound to this fake reality. They were born into this sick, profound reality that we place upon their consciousness that binds them to the same punishment and hell that we've all experienced. So my suggestion to you in this Applied Consciousness podcast is to connect the dots. Realize that all things are thought. And as a man thinketh, so is he, written in the Bible. And also there's a book about that by Allan Poe. That's another footnote to write down as you smoke your cigar or you sit out on your balcony. Realize that all things are thought, and through thought and imagination, one can free themselves from the belief systems, from the limitlessness, from the limits that reality has placed upon you through your thoughts. And if you want to live in the fifth dimensional reality, if you want to live in a life of abundance, then you, like the creators on this planet, must go into your imagination and bring back the formless to this form, so that all of us in humanity can live in that reality. Because if we keep holding on to the same belief systems, then we're going to keep living the same reality. I'm hoping that you understand how limitless consciousness truly is. And I pray that you apply these conscious principles into your reality. Don't just allow this podcast to be something that's a good simmer for your soul and go back into this fictional fairy tale reality, to the Maya, and being bound into this boundless form. Be free. Be the being. Tap into your dreams, tap into your subconscious mind, tap into the essence of your being, which is your imagination, and bring forth the fruits of your imagination to the form so that we all can experience it. Be the one to come up with the cure for cancer through your imagination. Be the one to come up with the cure for hunger through your imagination. Be the one to innovate government from your imagination. Be the doer of this reality and not the one that reality is being done to. And when you grasp this, and when you dive into the depths of your imagination and bring forth the fruits of holding on and enduring the truth of reality and bringing it back into this form, and when you do this, that's when you're going to say, woo! The power had been with me all along. Like I always say, live, love, and laugh, and share this podcast to others so that they can be inspired to dive deep into the imagination and bring back its fruits so that all humanity can thrive from it. Because you are a powerful, infinite being that can go beyond space and time, because there is no limits to your being. Stop allowing belief systems to hold you back from your infiniteness. You are love, and you are infinite.